Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. There's my position there. It's mostly destroyed. Some fighting up here. If I ever get there in time. Hurricane. G'day in the chat there, Toast. A3? Yeah, it is the A3. Spaz, Kasten, Kine, Arnon, Moen. Explain yourself. I don't know what you mean by Moen. German for good morning is guten Appetit. That's good appetite. Isn't it guten Morgen? That's why I always ask people to speak English on the stream. It's the only language that I can speak. Alright, here we go. I'm going to try and destroy as much ground targets as I can. Oh, they have. They did hit those bunkers. Lucky I noticed at the last minute. Just really destroyed the stuff out the front. Just cut him in a big bloke. Alright. Let's go. I could either hang around here and defend my positions, or I can go north and destroy something. That's how effective an A3 can be. What is the best defense? I think it's attack. What have we got over here? Action. So my position's under attack, quite possibly. There's plenty of planes here anyway. Yeah, look at that. E2's now. Quick, 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 defend, defend, defend. Full power. Is that an A20? What about the other one? Oh, it looks like a 110. It is a 110. Something just crashed. Let's get the A2. It's a P. Yeah, got a hit. And he's gone down. No. Sometimes just a one hit can finish him off. So I've defended this base here, that's pretty good. I could keep going north now, strike by the iron's hot. The best defence is attack. Action over there. I'm going to go and steal a march and just attack here at the enemy's. I know where it is already because I can see planes in the distance right here. We're actually winning now, rightfully so, because we have way more players than the Soviet. Actually, take that back. The player numbers are now equalised. When I joined, we had like, it was, I don't know, we had way more. It was like we had 15 and they had 10, something like that. Forgive my state of lethargy. One of my rules for streaming is to not stream when I'm tired, and I'm now streaming when I'm tired. But you know, if I didn't stream, I'd miss out completely. So a lethargic stream is perhaps better than a no stream at all. Yeah, I don't know. What have we got here? Yeah, it's find something, shoot it. There. Oh, now I'm just down to MG17. going to have to defend using MD-17s, or should I leave? I think I'll stay high, and I'll just try and defend. You do have defend value, like defend your attackers, that is. You do have defend value with MG-17s. You can certainly harass the enemy with them. And they don't know that you just have MGs, they think that you have cannon. Uh-oh. Ah, even worse, I got hit. Full power, full power. So I'm being chased and I'm chasing this one, which is a yak. You can hear it on my tail. Very cool. I'm at full power. Now he knows what I'm on. There he is there. My wing's totally wrecked. The one who's on my tail seems to have pulled up. One on my tail. Until it comes down. And I'm out of ammo. Shot. Let's go with it. Got something on my tail. Hey, we destroyed it. Wings of Liberty by far the best server. If all the other servers would adopt Wings of Liberty's way of doing things, they would become equally as popular. Another casualty leaping back. It's like a 110 smoking. Fairly close now. There's one leaving. 109. Whether I get back or not, who knows? This plane's on its last leg. 340 k's an hour. Mind you, I'm at 0.9 ATA, which is on purpose to prolong the engine. How much fuel have I got? 50 litres? Nothing. I should actually take this opportunity to ask you guys to smash the thumbs up button, as always, and subscribe to this channel. And support the channel. You can do so on Patreon. I think I have 2 patrons now. I used to have more, so if you want to be a patron of the channel, try it out. I just got to kill that long delayed, but I'll take it. You can also support the channel on YouTube. You can do super chats during live streams like this one. You can also become a member of the channel. If you do that, you get a frog icon next to your name when you comment in the chat. And stuff like that. It changes colour depending on how long you've been a member, in terms of months and years and things like that. And finally, please check out my merch. Plain similar to this one on t-shirts, $20 or so plus postage. Available more or less worldwide, and that's on Amazon and Teespring. Froggy Frog 9000 on Amazon and Teespring. Let's land. It's hard to see the runway because it's on the edge of the frozen lake and it all looks the same. But the lake pretty much is a runway. Here's another FW coming in for a land. Looks like is it a flapless? He has, I reckon he's got takeoff flaps down only. That's a massive score. Hey, I must have gotten the kill for that P too. Although I'm pretty sure the others hit it as well. I scored the final blow on, and I destroyed a yak, I would say. 3 trucks, 12 facilities, successful landing. Very good. So there's like less than 5 minutes left. I may as well take off again. Nope, that's the end of the map. So we'll proceed to the next map and I'll do a few more flights on that one and then I'll call it a day. That's not very good. It slows you down so much. 10 kilometers an hour. I'll take it anyway. -21. Target should I go to? What's the closest? Probably this airfield or this tank. Down to there or across to there. I think I remember this airfield. I'll go back there, I'll destroy all the flak and I'll drop the bomb on something there. It's quite a long way. 1, 2, 3, about 3 squares, 3 full squares. It's going to be longer than 5 minutes, I would say. I've got this bloody headrest here as well. Dagnammit. In the chat there, Carlos. Bloody hell, man. What server? It was Wings of Liberty, but the connection was lost. It does happen once in a blue moon. Back I go, I guess. Man, that was annoying. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. If it does, I'll probably end the stream, but otherwise, I don't think it's going to happen again. Just when I was about halfway there. Happens a lot to you. It hardly ever happens here, which is great, but yeah, sometimes. I'll change aircraft. Two 500s. Those are pretty heavy hitting. What about 1250s though? Two 500s, 450s. 1250s, realistically, to get accurate, I have to drop two at once. So that's 6 shots. 500s are massive. 5 kilometre an hour speed loss after the drop. It's not bad. 38 kilometre an hour speed loss after the drop. Nah, F that, man. But what if I take this? What does that? Because these are in a cluster under the fuselage, but these are on the wings. Whatevs. I'll take this. 2 500s and 450s. 5-second delay on the bomb timer. Guns to 350. I have a whopping 360 MGFF cannons, which at this stage in the war is massive. So this is probably the best bird to take for ground attack / fighter ops. Yeah, let's take this. And you got a sting in the tail as well there. So this is the E, the BF-110E, so it needs 15% throttle to get the engine started. If you don't have that, the engines won't start. Tip for young players. Whereas if you're using the BF-110G, that's not necessary because it has a more high-tech engine. It doesn't need the throttle advanced at all. I'm going to lower the flap a bit. So guys, it's getting very unstable out there in the Western world. And I've watched a bit of footage of marches in the UK and that, and anytime you hear them saying something, it's always comparing the authorities to Nazis. Always the way, it's the predominant thing that I see. Like it's the predominant theme of like protesters or people in video comments or whatever. Oh, they're Nazis, aren't they? Oh, they're Nazis. Oh, they're Nazis. Let me tell you, friends, they're not Nazis. They're communists. Straight up. Straight up, they're communists. With, instead of 1920s technology, with 2020s technology. So they're technotronic communists that have more or less usurped the West, and still they have the hallmarks that they had back in the 1920s. One of the major hallmarks of communism is it's a death system. It's the brainchild of the devil, and it's designed to kill everyone that's in its jurisdiction. The primary method of killing that communism has used throughout history, do you know what it is? It's starvation. It's starvation. So accordingly, guys, for God's sake, make sure you have some food saved up, particularly grains, because grains store well and they contain protein and energy, carbohydrate. Make sure that you start to look into the concept of growing your own food and producing your own food. If you can do those things, then you'll be at least better prepared than approximately 99% of the normie scum out there that are going to be completely falling victim to this. Don't be a normie scum, especially now that I've told you. Don't think about it, just do it. Get yourself some food. Learn how to grow a seed into a plant that can produce you a fruit or a vegetable. And start looking into things like raising goats, raising sheep, raising chickens. Chickens will give you eggs. If you've got meat birds, they'll give you roast chicken. Don't think about it, just bloody do it, and do it fast. No joke, straight up. Your life depends on it. Number one weapon of communism, starvation. You're now subjected to technotronic communism. If you don't take some kind of steps to anticipate loss of access to food supply chains, supermarkets, then you're going to be in a life-threatening emergency. Someone said something very interesting. They said the difference between like a grid down situation where you have food compared to where you don't have stored food, it's something like the difference between an inconvenience versus a life-threatening emergency. I think that's really true. Things are not fine in the UK, man. I'm not really going to try and convince you otherwise, but you're currently living in a country where one can't even read the Bible without getting arrested. That's pretty fucked up. In mind, Fragster, that the devil hates humanity. The devil hates you, and the devil wants to kill off all humans. The devil's brainchild, which is the primary tool to do it, is communism. It's literally of the devil. Where does communism come from? Ultimately, it comes from the devil. What does the devil want to do? Just wants to kill us all. And the UK, Australia, the West in general, now subject to technotronic communism. Arguably, right now we're in the end times. The end of an age, at least. Jesus said, "I'll be with you even to the end of the age." And I believe, this is my opinion, I believe that's now. I believe this is the end of the age. So this, of course, brings into the concept the mark of the beast. I personally believe that the jab is the mark of the beast. I think if you take the jab, you lose your soul. The devil takes ownership of your soul. And I think that your body's going to be used sort of like a machine until you're dead. So you'll just get sort of exploited, something like a slave in a salt mine until you perish. Your soul is eternal. It's outside of time. If you lose your soul to the devil, that's your soul in the devil's possession for eternity. It's a bad way to go. They do say in the Bible, and this is interesting, that 3.5 years after the Mark of the Beast is announced, Jesus is scheduled to come back to earth. Keep that in mind. Quite possibly, you only have to stick it out, unjabbed and unmurdered by the technotronic communists for 3.5 years after the jab becomes mandatory. And then, hey guys, you might get to meet Jesus on earth. Have you got your stored food? Have you got rice? Have you got lentils? Have you got soup mix in sachets? Soup mix is pretty good. Have you ever tried minestrone soup? I reckon soup mix is a good way to go for stored grains. Do you know how to hunt? Can you hunt? Can you hunt? Can you farm? Have you got stored food? Duke it. Yeah, well, what's that? MiG-3, P-39. Still carrying a bomb. I'm going to probably avoid it, actually. Let's just slink around this way and go and drop all the ordnance on the target. And where is the target? Where did that MiG-3 go? Like I said, I'm not going to argue with you. If you don't believe me, that's not good. But the point is, at least I've told you, so you've had an opportunity to know the truth. Fed up on the whole lockdown thing. Yeah, totally, man. Totally. My state has had something like 5 of them. Freaking ridiculous. Not to get political, marches are a vocal minority. Things are fine in the UK. It's really astounding how, at this time in history, people can have so uh, juxtaposed opinions on the same topic. It's a bit like I point at the grass and say, hey, look, see that grass? It's green. And someone says, nah, it's blue. And I say, nah, the sky's blue. The grass is green. And they say, nah, the sky's green. The grass is blue. So under such conditions, what can you do to convince someone? I think you just got to let them go, you know. It's almost like they're labouring under some kind of a black magic spell that prevents them from spiritually seeing. Yeah, look, guys, it's a hard subject to tackle without getting emotional. I'm not looking for a "I told you so" moment. I'm more or less trying to save your life. But yeah, nonetheless, I'm not really talking to the people that at least this late stage in things can't see. If you can see, at least somewhat, that there's something of a problem in the West, and you haven't taken the opportunity to figure out those things that I've just mentioned: farming, hunting, storing food, particularly grains, a variety of grains, not just frickin' rice. It's a good idea to make that your priority. It will save your life. At least you'll live to survive for another day. I personally recommend getting out of cities 100%, and that goes for suburbia as well. That goes for towns as well. In general, getting out of civilization altogether. There's the concept of the beast system. So we've covered the mark of the beast. What about the beast system? Unfortunately, the beast system encompasses everything that you've grown up in. Its primary method of control is money. So there's one thing that the devil doesn't have, and that's imagination. The devil can study all of human history like a data analyst and go, all right, this is how humans work based on prior history, but the devil can't account for your creativity. So that's your one competitive advantage that you have against the devil. The devil is inherently unable to be creative. You're human, you have the divine spark, you can be creative. You are creative inherently. It's time to use your creativity and try and envisage a world where you're living your best life, and it's as though you're rich and yet you have no money. Try and envisage that. Try and use your creativity to envisage that world. What kind of attributes would it have, and what kind of ways would it look like? How do you know that you're rich? One definition of how you're rich is that you got a fridge full of food. I personally think that most of you won't have a fridge with electricity, but okay, so you've got a larder or a pantry full of food, let's say. Maybe that's one definition of being rich. So if you can farm, if you can make food for yourself, you don't need to go to the shops and spend money to get the food. You've bypassed the beast system and you'll survive to live for another day. It's that kind of creative thinking that just might see you survive. My uncle went to the countryside last year. Alright. It's definitely the right direction to be going. You see there's the considerations of the basics, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So the basics, of course, are what? Food, water, shelter, even if it's a tent, and a sleeping bag, especially if it's freezing outside. Food. Again, the grains are really good. Those soup mix packets, 375 gram packets of soup mix. They're pretty awesome. You just boil them for a bit, chuck in some salt and maybe some olive oil, and you got yourself a meal that has carbohydrates, that's energy, and protein, that's for your muscles, so you don't waste away to nothing. It's not a complete meal, but at least it's something that's got fat in it too from the olive oil. Keep your brain alert. There's so much to all of this stuff, but just in general, it's as I've said. Get away from the cities, get away from the beast system, become self-reliant. So, oh shit, there's an enemy engaging. gunner didn't do much. That was just a P40. Damn. Oh well, go again, I guess. It just makes me quite upset that most people are so utterly without a clue. They simply can't see. They're literally dumber than the chickens that I just bought the other day. And man, they're dumb, let me tell you. Like, you know what I think? I think my IQ is probably 95 and the average is 100. But these people, even though their IQs, a lot of them must be higher than mine, they're so dumb. They're so dumb. They cannot see. They can't see. And frankly, that goes for most of the people in those marches. Oh, they're Nazis, aren't they? Oh, they're Nazis, aren't they? Oh, they play the Nazis, aren't they? They're so dumb. They're so freaking dumb. It's unbelievable. Those stupid bastards, they don't know what they're in for. Do you get what I'm saying? Most of the people on those marches are just so dumb. The equivalent of a kid saying to an abusive parent, "Oh, Mum, stop hitting me so much. Mum, you're a Nazi, stop hitting me so much." Or, "Dad, you're a Nazi, stop hitting me so much." Like, they're so dumb. They don't get it. This appeal to authority is not going to do anything it might slow down the, lockstep. It might slow it down by, in the aggregate, 1 week, and that's about it. So utterly dumb, and I say that with love, because literally it's like looking at a herd of sheep. It's like looking at sheep. These smart people, they're so freaking dumb. It's like looking at sheep. It's like looking at a mass of sheep. And they're the ones that have had the wherewithal to get up and maybe rub 2 neurons together in their brain and think, maybe I should speak up. But it's you got to understand, even those ones that are a little bit more advanced than the ones staying at home and doing nothing or sticking their head in the sand, even they are about 10 steps behind the devil. Like, they have no fucking chance, guys. They're just completely without. I'm going to say that they're without hope, but it's as though you're looking at a flock of sheep that's about to go into an abattoir. Like that's the average Joe public today. Frankly, it's most of you guys watching right now. You can't see it, can you? Most of you. Some of you might have some inkling. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a spiritual blockage or something. Is there too much sin in your heart so you've lost your spiritual sight? I don't know what it is, but it's definitely something. These people, for example, to take the analogy further, the sheep on the march, they're all of their sentiment is going to come to nothing when their access to food gets turned off. When the access to food gets turned off. You guys have got to understand something. You're currently living under technotronic communism. As I said at the beginning of this stream, the primary method that communism uses to kill people is to turn off the food, is starvation. Straight up, no bullshit, straight up. Communism, the brainchild of the devil, none other than, is designed to kill humans en masse. Anyone that falls into the jurisdiction of a government that's been taken over by communism is going to be subject to extermination. The primary method of that is starvation. Straight up, guys, no bullshit. Straight up. Even if you comply, eventually they'll still kill you. It's a democide system. It's a death by government system. Its primary purpose is to kill as many people as possible. Why? Because that's what the devil wants, and it's the devil's system. It hit Russia in 1918, it hit Cambodia in the 70s, it hit Vietnam in the 60s, hit Cuba around the same time. Now it's in the West. So you guys, at the very freaking least, get yourself some stored food. Learn agriculture as much as you can. If you have potato and chickens, at least you've got a chance. What would you do if you didn't have access to electricity? What would you do if the water coming out of the tap stopped coming out of the tap? These are the kinds of things that happen when communism takes over and goes hot and goes live, like what we're on the cusp of right now, what you're seeing happening right now. Yeah, totally, man. Venezuela's totally effed up because of this very thing. With such things, if you can escape the jurisdiction that it controls, that's the best way to go. More or less, though, it's freaking worldwide these days. So the only thing that you're relegated to doing really is trying to avoid the beast system, which means going as far into the country as you can, or literally getting on a yacht and sailing to freaking Antarctica. It's not something that you can really convince or reason with. It's something that you just need to avoid. And don't be surprised when your access to the supermarket stops, unless you take the mark of the beast. It's a matter of weeks away, guys. It's a matter of months or weeks. Like I said, according to the Bible, if you can survive for 3.5 years after the mark of the beast is initiated, that's when Jesus is scheduled to come back to earth. Is this the mark of the beast? Yeah, it is. It is. Straight up. What is the mark of the beast? You need it to buy and sell if you're going to stay in the beast system. If you're not going to stay in the system, then you won't need to take the mark, and that's preferable. But just be aware that the beast system will be hostile to you. You're not in Kansas anymore, guys. I don't think I've dropped any bombs yet. Kill. Here goes a 500. Here goes the second 500. Did it go off? Was that a 50? That's all the 50s. First one was a good hit. Reload the cannon. Guys, if you listen to me carefully, although my message is compelling and it's negative, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Like I said, if you can survive for a period of time, you might just get to meet Jesus on earth. Good idea too, because this is going to be really helpful, is to read the Bible. It's got a lot of detail in there about the time that we're in right now. I guess I'm a Christian. I certainly wasn't a Christian all of my life. Got a Christian background, I guess. The first school I went to was a Christian school, St. John's, and as a little boy we'd go across the road to the school's chapel, a nice architectural marvel, like an old stone chapel. It's a really beautiful church, like a small church. But generally speaking, I've not been a Christian at all in my entire life. However, in the last, 2 years or so, particularly seeing so much evil manifesting on the earth just in the last year and a half, it was kind of hard to avoid the conclusion that evil exists. And if evil exists, that's quite a revelation. Then probably the devil exists, and if evil and the devil exist, then quite possibly God exists too. It's worthwhile, if you never have especially, get a Bible, open to any page, just read a few sentences even, or a few words, and then shut it again. Just do that every now and then. It's not going to make any sense to you at all at first, but after a while you start to stumble upon things. Do you know at least the one I have, the Bible has 888 pages, and one thing that's compelling there's different sections of the Bible, right? One of them's called Timothy, and there's two sections of Timothy that I know of. There's Timothy 1 and Timothy 2, or rather 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy. If you read 2 Timothy, it describes how people will be in the end times. I can't say it to you from memory, but I just read it and I thought, gee, that sounds so much like today. Might have run out of cannon. 0, yeah. I think I'll return to base. This is all too highfalutin for you. That's fine, but at least I've told you and now you know the truth. I've told you, it's up to you what you do with it. Smart, you'll do what I recommended. Get food, get agricultural knowledge, chickens, potatoes, stored food, stored grains. Get the frick out of the cities and the suburbs and the towns. Be completely self-responsible and self-sufficient. Stick it out for a few years and you might just survive, and you might just get through to the other side successfully. Don't do that, 100% the technotronic communist zombie apocalypse is upon you, and you'll be a part of it. And I could go through all of the proofs of maybe you can tell I'm someone that reads a lot of books. I could go through a lot of proofs to you right now about the similarities between 1918 and 2021. I could list through hundreds of similarities to prove to you that this is the same phenomena affecting the West that affected Russia in 1918. I haven't the inclination to do that. I haven't got time. Just take it from me. You know, I'm giving you the too long didn't read version. I'm giving you the condensed, boiled down bottom line of what you should do and do now. Just do what I say and you might survive. Seriously guys, communism is no joke. It's bloodthirsty. It is bloodthirsty. It is frickin' bloodthirsty. It's not a joke. It's not something, if you think I'm crazy or something, that's fine, but listen, this is such a serious thing that it's not something that you want to even take the chance of. I am 100% right on this, but if you have your doubts, that's fine, but get away from the beast system, get yourself some food and some agricultural knowledge. At least give yourself that insurance policy. I'm trying to save your bloody life. Like I said, in the olden times, it was a little bit easier. If you were in Cambodia and Pol Pot showed up with his freaking communism, if you were savvy and you had the acumen, you could just get out of Cambodia and try and make your way to America or Australia or somewhere. You'd be a-okay. You'd be fine. But these days, it's worldwide. Where do you run to? You know, where do you run to? It's not as simple as it was, so to speak, back in the day. Make no mistake, guys, communism is bloodthirsty, and it hates humanity. It hates humanity. It hates you and me. Why? Because it's of the devil. Literally, it's the brainchild of the devil. Does the devil exist? Well, the devil certainly wants you to think that he doesn't exist. The devil wants you to think that he doesn't exist and that God doesn't exist. The devil is the prince of this world. The devil is the controller of this world, if you will. God allows the devil to exist, but nonetheless, the devil is probably the biggest material influence on the world. The devil has all the money in the world. You'll notice that all of the devil projects have unlimited funding. Unlimited funding. Completely unlimited funding for all of the devil's projects. The devil's biggest project overall is communism. New World Order. The New World Order is the name of it, but really it's technotronic communism. And you might have noticed it doesn't lack funding. It has all the money in the world because the devil's system, the beast system, is a money system. So, you'll find that for worthy projects, maybe there's not a lot of money, but for the devil's projects, the United Nations, for example, all of the communistic stuff in universities, there's unlimited funding because the devil has literally all the money in the world. That's why I said to you earlier, if you can use your imagination, it's something the devil doesn't have, and try and come up with an envisaging of how you could live your best life without money, how you could live a rich life without money. Do you see the significance of that? Because money is of the devil. The devil has all the money in the world. If you're going to live outside of the beast system, aka survive, you're going to need to do it largely without money. Fact. By all means, spend money to prepare, spend money to buy your food, buy your chickens, buy your potatoes, buy your rural property, your acreage, your solar-powered electric vehicles and your solar systems, all of these kinds of things. But once you're outside of that system, you'll have to do it without money, by and large. Reset, the fall of capitalism and the rise of China. It's a bit bigger than that. It's the fall of mankind, except for those that have the wherewithal to survive it, including China. Everyone is being subjected to the devil's evil. Death system, guys, and you guys are in it. Oh, most of them on the ground, I think. Yeah, 5 on the ground, 1 in the air. 2 vehicles, 4 buildings. I mean, it's a successful flight. 90 points landed. How's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somehow it's even. Didn't expect that. Keep going with 110, I guess. When the commies took over Russia, it was not the first time that they tried. They took over, I think it was in 1918, on the back of the trauma of World War I. The Russians essentially lost World War I to Germany. There was a peace deal, but their people had been bled dry by the casualties of World War I. Russia was really weakened by 1918 from World War I. And then in that weakened state, the commies managed to overtake Russia. They'd been trying for they've been trying for decades before that to do it, and they kept on failing. So communist revolutions in Russia were attempted in the late 1800s, at least two others, and then the one in 1918 succeeded, when Russia was really weakened from World War I. And again, this is all this communism was done with unlimited money, unlimited funding. And even with unlimited funding, they still failed to take over Russia, which was under the Tsar at that time. Twice they had two attempted revolutions and they failed. Only when Russia was weakened from World War I did they finally succeed, and again with unlimited funding behind them. As soon as the commies took over Russia, the first thing they did, by the tens of thousands, probably close to the million, it's in the millions really, is they killed a lot of people. Their number one target, you might not know this, was Christians. Christians in Russia were targeted from 1918 onwards for extermination. Tens of thousands of churches were destroyed, and many, it must be in the millions, of Christians were just outright killed, murdered. Why did communism, when it took over Russia, murder millions of Christians? Why? So what's the antithesis to Christianity? Satanism. And where does communism come from? It comes from the devil. So if the devil's system takes over a jurisdiction, what's the first thing that it does? It kills all the Christians. Are you starting to kind of fill in the gaps here of how this works? And of course, anyone that was within the community, like people in villages or cities, anyone that had a business or that had a successful farm, if they weren't outright murdered, they were shipped off to concentration camps in Siberia. This is not a Russian phenomenon, by the way. Communism is not a Russian phenomenon. It's not of a particular nationality or religion. And yes, there's certain religions or nationalities that have participated in it particularly a lot throughout history, but ultimately it's a system from the devil. It's the devil's brainchild. It's of the devil, it's from the devil. And it is the antithesis of Christianity. Again, that's why when communism takes over a jurisdiction, the first thing it does is it kills all the Christians. What's the stated goal of communism? It's world domination. It's to take over the world. That's why it's quite ridiculous. Like if you look at, so you got all these people in YouTube comments or BitChute comments going, oh, it's the bloody Nazis, isn't it? The place of the Nazis, isn't it? Place of the Nazis, isn't it? Constantly calling any tyrannical authority Nazis. Like this just shows the level of ignorance that these people have, which leads me to think they probably don't have a chance. By now, if they don't have some historical knowledge, they probably don't have a chance to survive.
Oh, it's the bleeding Nazis, isn't it?
So, just for example, and I'm not on the side of the Nazis, they're terrible as well. But listen, the Nazi belt buckle in World War II and the German belt buckle in World War One, I think it was the same belt buckle on all the soldiers. What was it? God with us. God with us. Communism, of course, is expressly atheist, but really, again, the devil doesn't want you to think that God or the devil exist, and so makes the devil's system an atheist system to trick you to think that the spiritual realm doesn't exist. The communist belt buckle, at least the early version of it, was a globe with the hammer and sickle over the top of it, symbolising world domination of communism. The devil's goal is to take over the world completely, and the methodology to do it is communism, aka the New World Order. Communism now, with its unlimited funding, has so much technology at its disposal, it's frightening. It's really frightening. They have the technology to turn you into a zombie, and if you keep complying with them, that's exactly what they'll do. There is some kind of a spiritual law that says that they need your consent. Under God's law, the devil's forces need your consent to do something bad to you. That's why if you keep complying with them, that's you giving them your consent, and they'll lead you right down the garden path, and they will turn you into a zombie. And that's a bad place to be. That's where you lose your soul for eternity. Religion is the enemy of the totalitarian state. Yeah, totally. One thing that's become really clear to me in recent months or years is that any organisation on Earth can be affected by the devil. The devil's way of affecting things is to invert them, to flip them upside down, to make the good bad and the bad good. And I think that that's happened. I'm fairly well certain that that's happened to the Catholic Church. I think Catholicism is great, and I think that Catholics by and large are really good people. But for sure, like the whole organisation, just like this is the big epiphany with organisations, is that the devil can pretty well easily, with money and with lies and coercion and manipulation, take over any organisation in terms of inverting its core values and its message. And I mean, you see all the scandals in the news these days about the Catholic Church. It's almost like the devil wants to defame the messenger, the church, so as to weaken the message of the church, which is what's in the Bible. There's one. Long story short, guys, you're in for some really tough times if you don't do some kind of steps right now. If you do prepare, it could be the best time of your life. And by the way, guys, the devil is immaterial. You cannot, don't think about World War III as an option. It's not an option. It may eventuate because of the devil's plans, but you can't kill the devil. You cannot kill the devil. As far as the devil goes, it's your job not to let the devil's representatives, which are demons, into your heart. And because the devil loves sin, it's really a good idea for you to preserve your energy bar, so to speak, to not sin. It's really, really a good idea for you personally to not sin. And the more you sin, the more the devil loves it. The more you sin, the more influence the devil has on the world. So you can start to get an idea that the way you keep the devil at bay, or the way that you outright defeat the devil, is to not sin. Don't let demons into your heart. And generally speaking, do things that elevate the levels of the Holy Spirit on your street, in your neighborhood, in your family. And again, I'm not some kind of hardcore Christian. I've researched this. I've researched the body of knowledge of Christianity for maybe 2 years. That's it. I'm just sharing with you my findings. So the way it goes with sin, why shouldn't you sin? Well, there's a bunch of reasons, obviously, but it's not just all external focus, like you shouldn't sin because it's bad for other people if you sin because you're doing wrong by them. Yeah, sure, that's a compelling thing, I guess. But if you consider yourself a character in a video game and you have a green power bar above your head, that's your energy. That's your energy for the day or whatever. If you're mired in sin, your power bar goes down. You literally have less energy the more you sin. So it's in your best interest to preserve your power bar by not sinning. It's basically keeping your energy focused on things that pay dividends, that give you a good return on investment of your time, energy and focus. That's one of the most compelling, truly compelling things why you shouldn't sin. And the more that you think like that, the more that you defeat the devil and communism. Which is the devil's system. So it's here. Can you stop it? No, I don't think you can stop it at this late stage in things. It's like terminal cancer. What you can do though is do your best to become self-sufficient, like I said throughout this stream. And to try and get a bloody clue about what's happening in your world. Want to get this game, which one should I get first to stay competitive in multiplayer? I'd just get, well, that's a good question. I mean, my favourite is Battle of Bodenplatte because I like the plane set the best. But like, I mean, the first one that I got was Battle of Stalingrad. Well, that was a close call. Oh, it depends where you want to fly. I'd probably get Battle of Stalingrad or Bodenplatte. There we go. Another close call. Oh, direct hit on one of them at least. Haha, there we go. Surely that finished off the airfield. I think there's a bunch of planes in those trees there. It's going to be hard to get to them. Like, although I play a lot of war video games, if we were back in time at the start of World War One or World War Two, and I was speaking to you then, I'd be saying exactly the same thing. I'd be saying, don't go to war. Abstain. Object. Don't go to war. Don't do it. Because it's just of the devil. It's the devil's favourite thing. Doesn't help anybody. Doesn't lead to world peace. Doesn't save the world. It just kills everybody. And that's what the devil loves. And so that's why you should avoid things like war. Guys, even the mask mandate, so-called, even that is a precursor to the mark of the beast. If I were you, I wouldn't wear one at all. If you really feel that you must wear one, I highly, strongly recommend don't bloody wear those blue surgical ones. They do contain nanoworms, and nanoworms are a kind of a way of delivering a drug to you. Your hot, moist breath activates the nanoworms. You breathe them in. Once they're inside your system, they burrow in. They're activated electromagnetically. They release something into your system, and there's a good chance that if you've been wearing a blue mask for a year and a half, there's a very, very good chance that you're not fully with it right now. You're like someone who's been drugged up on opium or something for the last year and a half, or you've been bitten by the venom of an exotic snake. It's that kind of thing. You don't think these things exist? That's fine, but at least you've had the opportunity to hear me tell you the truth. At least you've had the opportunity to know. Might as well dogfight this one. Oh, that was 2 against 1. Damn, that airfield's still not destroyed. How's it looking? What? Whoa, that's a good tally though. 8 planes on the ground. Nice. A truck. Fuel tank. Crash though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's the Nazis though, isn't it? They're all Nazis.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 5, they got 6. We're losing slightly. I think this airfield's nearly done. If you've just joined us, this is what I'm flying. BF-110E, 2 500 kilos under the fuselage, 4 50s on the wings, 360 rounds of cannon, and heaps of MG-17. On the subject of food, water, shelter, I've discussed shelter a bit and food. What about water? Let me ask you something about your water. How good's your water? How pure is your water that you drink? The water that you regularly drink, how pure is it? Think about it. What's in my opinion, what's very important right now is clarity of thought. The clearer that you can think, the greater your chances of survival. If you're drinking water out of the tap, you won't be thinking as clearly as you could be. In my opinion, the best kind of water that you can drink is clean rainwater or city water, tap water that has been purified. And I don't just mean run through a Berkey water filter or something like that. I mean freaking purified, distilled water. Do that, it's highly likely that a couple of things will happen. Whatever level of spirituality that you have will improve. If you've never prayed before, it's highly likely that after drinking pure rainwater or distilled water instead of city tap water, after about 3 or 4 months of that, if you've never prayed before, you might spontaneously find yourself praying to God. Pure water can have that effect on you. So much the water itself, it's the absence of all the shit that's in the tap water. So how clear is your thought? Directly correlated to how clean and how pure is your water. If you're not drinking pure water, that's rainwater or distilled water, then your thought is not going to be as clear as it otherwise could be. Believe you me, pal, if there's any time that you need to think clearly, it's right now in 2021. Again, not to be melodramatic, but your freaking life depends on it. The clearer you think, the better your outcomes. At this time, also in general. there's this movie with Steven Seagal in it. Is it Under Siege? Steven Seagal, Under Siege. He's on the ship, and Meg Ryan or someone jumps out of the cake as a stripper. Remember that movie? And he's in the galley with the cooks and that, and the cooks are freaking out, and he says something like, "You joined the Navy. Remember, it's an adventure." Well, it's not exactly the same scenario, because your task is not to defeat terrorists. Your task is to become self-sufficient. But in becoming self-sufficient, self-reliant, taking self-responsibility for everything in your life, including where your water comes from, including your ability to access as much food as you want at all times, taking self-responsibility, that's your adventure. It can be an adventure. It can be the adventure of your lifetime. It can be downright enjoyable, quite potentially. Surprised I haven't destroyed that airfield yet. Surely I'll finish it off this time. What is actually left here at this airfield? I'm going to endeavour to use my bombs before my cannon. Guys, if you want some further instruction or tips or hints or whatever, or inspiration for how you can proceed in what I've covered in this stream, do check out my website, froggyfrog9000.com. I've got links there to there's a whole bunch of embedded videos and some text from me about the topic of being responsible for your own self, responsible for your own food and water and so on, your own transport, your own accommodation, food, water, shelter. It's all there. So if you're feeling bewildered, you're not sure where to start at my website. It's probably the best place that you could start. How much longer will I be doing this channel? It's a good question, right? I think the channel will stay for as long as YouTube will not ban the channel, which after today could be right now, or it could be just staying in perpetuity, more or less. Who bloody knows, right? But as for me, I think I'll stop making content sometime before the next year. So sometime before 2022, I imagine that I'll stop making content. I'll definitely leave the channel up. Hopefully it continues to make me some money. And people can still watch my back catalogue. To 500 dropped on a single plane. Plenty of planes there, they're hard to reach. Alright, I got one in mind. It's these ones here. There's one, they're like a horseshoe, you gotta go in through the entrance. Now this way, that's an aisle too there. What can I do? there's the target. What the heck happened to that IL-2? It's chasing me. Still got a bomb on here. Where? Another plane joining me. I'm getting wrecked by that IL-2 scanner. And I did destroy some stuff. Damn, the airfield's still on the map. There's a few more bunkers with planes in those forests there. A bit of stuff over there. Just switch aircraft now. Four planes on the ground. I go HS, that's pretty good, although it's extremely slow. I might just go an F2. What about an E7? What about a Mackie? I'll go an F2. Outturn him. That's tough to... Yeah, I dropped the bombs so that I could have a chance to dogfight him, but by then it wasn't going so well. There's a Mackie. guys, if you've just joined the stream, I highly recommend that you go back to not quite the beginning of the stream, maybe 10 minutes in or something, because I'm discussing how you can potentially survive the instability that is currently besieging the Western world, and how you can potentially survive the technotronic communist New World Order that you're currently living under. One of the big problems is that so communism firstly reared its evil, ugly head just about 102 years ago, 1918, in Russia. So fast forward to 2021, and we have it now in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, United States, South Africa, United Kingdom, all of the Schengen zone, all of Europe, France, Germany, Spain, Nordic countries, Scandinavia, everywhere. It's everywhere. Belgium, Holland. Communism is now in the Western world. It's a bit of a problem. And unfortunately, because the devil who invented communism has had 100 years since 1918 to observe the effects of communism on other nations, Vietnam, Cuba, Venezuela, Cambodia, etc. The devil's had a lot of opportunity to observe the effects in minute detail on the psychology of people, and also the passage of time has increased technology. The devil has all the money in the world and all the technology in the world, even ones that we don't know about, or that we're just starting to learn about. So it's technotronic communism, and it unfortunately benefits from just over 100 years of experience since 1918. And so the culmination of that is a thing called full spectrum dominance. Full spectrum dominance. And you're currently being subjected to it. It basically means that there's kind of a soft kill attack on you. You may not fully be aware of the extent of it. Every single aspect of society is somehow impacted by it, by full spectrum dominance. Whether it be schooling, university, the water that you drink out of the tap, policies. There we go, that finished it. Nice. It's just that one plane. Full spectrum dominance. Of particular concern is the quality of the food and the water that you've got access to these days. Always best in this day and age to grow your own food and to raise your own food. The food that you get from the supermarket is not very trustworthy in this day and age. That's part of full spectrum dominance. Do you know that on fruits and vegetables even, like on apples and bananas and such, they're now spraying some kind of a waxy coating that's made of nanoparticles. So if you get that shit on your hands and then you ingest it, you're ingesting nanoparticles. You've probably heard of microplastics. I think that's a euphemism for nanoparticles. Nanoparticles can be toxic, to say the very least, and increasingly they're containing microchips, like quantum dots. They're like a nanoparticle that is computerized, and these things are out there in the food system in the supermarket, and you don't want to be ingesting them. Any processed food, any food that's gone through a process to make it, is likely going to be potentially contaminated with nanoparticles. Again, this is part of full spectrum dominance. You might have seen the video footage of people that are magnetic. I hope you've seen that footage. If you haven't, bloody hell, you better catch up. So there's some kind of a correlation between the food that you buy at the supermarket and people becoming magnetized. What can you do about this? Well, you should try not to become magnetized, and the chief way to do that, as far as the food supply goes, is don't get it from the freaking supermarket. Get your food from your own garden. Grow potatoes in sufficient quantity. Raise chickens. There you go. You got eggs, you got roast chicken, you got potato, and you're not magnetic. The supermarket looks so glitzy and glamorous. It's really a propaganda job at this point. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all advertising to sell you shit that contains stuff that you really don't want in your body. And to finish a point that I started making earlier, you shouldn't wear a mask if you really feel that you must. Then for God's sakes, don't wear one of those surgical blue masks for the reason that I mentioned earlier, which is that they contain nanoworms, which basically are like microscopic syringes that inject you with some unknown substance when you inhale them. If you must wear a mask, to finish my point, I recommend just getting like a neck warmer, wearing it to warm your neck. And if you really must wear a mask, just pull it up over your face, bush ranger style, and then take it off again. Like a neck warmer that you already have in your drawer. Nothing brand new from the shops. You should avoid those tests that they want to stick up your nose. Those things are really fucking dodgy. Those things are known at this point to contain the most carcinogenic chemical known to man, and you're sticking that up near your brain. They're known to be a sterilizing factor to stop you from reproducing. Fathers, don't let your adult daughters, don't let any of your kids, young or old, stick that shit up their nose. It's going to sterilize them, make them so that they can't produce kids. And also that swab that they want you to stick up your nose contains the nanoworms. So find a way that you don't have to participate in that. Artillery. That one's done, is it? Whoa. It looks done. Yeah, there's more artillery down there though. Hard to spot when it's out of draw distance. Hey, we got bunkers there. I may as well take out the artillery. Hey. got that one. I'll just keep doing this until I destroy all of the artillery. It's the best use of this single barrel cannon with 200 rounds only. Now that I've located the target, I won't let it out of my sights, hopefully. Until I've destroyed all these soft targets. There's one. Yes. Yes. That's two. Yeah! Any left? There's that one again. I think it's done. What else is there? There's one there, isn't there? Yeah, there's one. This is going to be a hard one to do because I'm right above it. Yes. Stalingrad installed first as the base for the others. Yeah, you could be right. That could be true. I have no way of myself verifying it because I got Stalingrad first of all, and then I got everything else subsequently. But I would say that's a pretty safe way to go. No. Check out all that there though. Need a Ju-88 to take on all of that. Look how many bunkers. About 6 or 7 bunkers plus some other stuff. Do I have any cannons left? Yeah, I do. Good. I can probably take out 2 bunkers with this. I might try and take out the small precision stuff next to the bunkers, so I don't know. Hopefully that destroyed those barrels. It didn't seem to, did it? That was a waste of ammo. Should have gone for the bunker. Those small barrels can be very resistant. None of these has been touched, there's so many of them. That's got that bunker, but that's really ate through my cannon. Need to come back here in a Ju-88. Sign of the enemy. I'll keep attacking the bunkers then. Try and do it systematically from one side. It's got that, and I'm out of cannon. May as well head back to base. Guys, I assume there's 11 of you watching, I assume most of you are guys, if not 100% of you. It's up to you to lead your women folk, whichever woman is in your life, it's like your wife or your girlfriend, your fiance, your daughter, your grandma, your mum, your sister, your cousins. Women in your life, it's up to you to show leadership to. There's not a single woman on earth right now that's going to follow you into a rural setting to live off food that you garden yourself and that you store in stored grains without some kind of leadership on your part. They're not going to follow you just like that. But they must if they want to survive. Like George Orwell, Eric Blair, I think his real name was, George Orwell, that wrote 1984. Like he said, about the nature of the psychology of women in the totalitarian state in 1984 is that their demeanour, their personality, their motivation, women were 100% loyal to the totalitarian state. And so it goes now in the technotronic communist New World Order. Women, left to their own devices, are totally happy to be not just conforming to, but actually loyal to the New World Order, totalitarianism. It's a strange thing, but that they have loyalty to it. I think it's something to do with a survival mechanism, and the devil has had a lot of opportunity to study human beings, including women, figure out what makes them tick, and knows that they're going to be loyal to the New World Order when it descends, which it has done. So you guys have got a tough job on your plate. You've got to convince your women to disengage from the smartphone and from Snapchat and Facebook and the supermarket and all of these kinds of things, and to go with you into the wild blue yonder. You got to convince them that. You got to show them leadership. They're going to try their hardest to manipulate you, which is what they're good at, but not in a benevolent way. They're going to try and manipulate you to stay in the system, stay in the New World Order, stay in the beast system, stay where all the comfort and all the safety is. And that's, if you do that though, you won't last very long. You must leave. You simply must leave. The women are never going to understand that unless you show them some serious leadership. You've got to lead them. They're, put it this way, they're depending on you to show them leadership. You're the man, lead. If you're leading the women, what are you following? You ought to be following a religious text. My religious text of choice is the Bible. I think that does it perfectly. But whatever you're doing, make sure that you're not just making up the rules as you go along. You're following something established that's stood the test of time, like the teachings of Jesus in the Bible. Can't go wrong. One plane on the ground, 7 heavy weapons. Those are all those artillery pieces. 2 buildings. That was the fuel tanks. Landing. So I'll go back to this one from here, I think, in a Ju-88. Six 250s and 2850s. That's the ultimate loadout. It's nearly 3,000 kilos. I think it's 2,900 kilos. 250, 250, 250, 250, 250, 250, and then what was it? 2850s in the hold. Yeah, 5 second delay, enough fuel. snow camo scheme. This ought to finish, if I don't get attacked by an enemy fighter, this ought to finish off that target. How much time we got left? Hour left, maximum. Seriously, guys, like I was saying, if you listen to your women folk, they're going to want you to stay in suburbia. And if you do that, it's not going to go too well for you. There will be the rare woman, like 1 out of 100, that sees things clearly. And she actually might be trying to convince you to leave suburbia and to go rural, go into the country, live a farming lifestyle where you're completely self-responsible. But usually not. Usually it's your job as the man to convince the women to put down the bloody smartphone, get off Facebook, and to learn how to grow a potato, and to get the heck out of suburbia, and to renounce the shopping mall. Hopefully I've got enough runway here with those trees bearing down on us there. Speed 200, good, let's rotate. Your ultimate goal as well should not just be to survive outside of the beast system, but to also be fruitful and multiply as per what it says in the Bible. What does that mean? It means have some kids. You and your wife have some kids. If you don't have a wife, find yourself a wife, make it a priority, and be fruitful. That means have kids. How many? Heaps, as many as you can. Think you've got all the time in the world. You might find that you are already infertile. Have you had your testosterone checked? The level? It's quite possible that level is lower than it should be. Have you had your sperm count checked? You might find that it is already below the threshold, below which you're not considered normally able to conceive. Why would that happen to you? You never been kicked in the nuts or anything. Nothing bad's ever happened to you, so why would that happen to you? Why would you be infertile? You've been exposed to Wi-Fi for 10 years or 15 years, however long Wi-Fi's been around for. That alone is enough to make you infertile. So hurry up, get yourself a wife, and be fruitful before it's too late. Literally, the human race is relying on you to do your part. But like I said, if I didn't get took out by an enemy fighter, I'd finish off that target. There's only a bunch of bunkers. I've destroyed all the artillery pieces already. So a fighter is perfect for destroying artillery pieces because it's precision marksmanship, but to destroy all of those quantity of bunkers, you need a Ju-88 or a PE-2. What is this whole thing with masks from a symbolic point of view? Have you ever considered it? Is a mask normally? A mask normally is a way of hiding a face, isn't it? What is a face? A face is an identity. So, as we know, the New World Order is fundamentally communist in nature. Communism is of the devil. The New World Order is the devil's product. The devil's tool to destroy humanity. So what's with all the masks that kicked off this exposing of the New World Order of itself to you when it literally dropped its mask, so to speak? It's funny, isn't it? At the very moment that the New World Order drops its mask and shows its true evil face, it requires you to cover up your face with a mask. That's not a coincidence, that's by design. So for you to wear a mask, it symbolizes submission to evil, and at the same time it's quite obvious that evil has dropped its mask and is now showing you its true ugly head, its true ugly identity, its face, its identity. Why would evil wear a mask in the first place? Do you ask? Why would evil wear a mask? Evil almost always wears a mask. The only time evil doesn't wear a mask is when you've managed to figure out that it's there, of your own initiative. At that point, evil realizes that the game is up, it's been discovered, and it drops the mask. At the same time that it dropped the mask, it tries to destroy you. If you've ever looked into the concept of narcissism, it's one and the same thing. Narcissism is the secular way of describing psychopathy, demonic infestation. The characteristics of evil are a constant, so it doesn't matter whose heart the evil is in, or whether it's in the persona of an organization, or whether it's just generally speaking permeating a human culture at a particular time in history. Evil is a constant. The Bible says you'll know them by their fruits, right? You know, evil, you can look at its behaviors. That's how you can know. And the reason why you can't just look at someone or an organization and go, aha, that's evil, is because evil wears a freaking mask. Evil knows that it's so unacceptable and that it's so ugly to you that it always wears a mask. So what you're seeing in 2020, 2021 is you're seeing evil dropping the mask and showing you its ugly identity. At the same time it does that, it threatens you, it manipulates you, it coerces you, and coercively says, you shut your mouth, you put on a mask symbolizing that you'll keep your mouth shut now that I've revealed my ugly identity. That's really what's going on these last year and a half with the masks. Glad you asked. When evil does drop its mask, it's a particularly perilous time. Hence your need to listen to this stream more or less from about 10 minutes in from the beginning when I started covering this subject, and start taking steps to grow your own food, store your own grain, and get the frick out of the city. Your life depends on it. And like I said, and to reiterate, you've got to show leadership to any women folk in your life. Without you, they will be lost. Disclaimer, 1 in 100 women will have their act together and they'll be able to actually show you some leadership in this issue, but most of them won't. Most of them are beyond clueless, and frankly most of the men are beyond clueless too, probably including you guys listening to this, hence my need to be a good shepherd to you, since you're basically a bunch of sheep, no offence, and try and steer you in the right direction. If I don't, the devil's going to steer you in the wrong direction. It won't go so well for you. What have we got up there? It's a yak or a P39. Hopefully he hasn't seen us. Better fly low. It's probably the same one. Keep real low. Low, 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 low. There's the Ju-88 that's going to be found in the 2000s in the woods, brought to a museum for restoration. Oh, hey, look, there we go. There's probably the target there. There's a good YouTube channel that has those kind of things. Literally like Ju-88s, MiG-3s, FW-190s in the forests that they restore. Pull them out of peat bogs and stuff where they're perfectly preserved often. Crap, I'm under attack already. Get there with about 4 minutes to spare to work on those bunkers. I'll drop the 6.250s. Hopefully my gunners have scared that fighter off or shot it down. And then I'll open the bay, and then I've got 28.50s to drop individually. Ah, come on, man. A real Debbie Downer. I don't know. Am I going to be able to get there without... Why don't I go for a different target? I'll go for the... I should really go for this group down here. I want to go for the same target though, but I'll just have to take a detour. Goes without saying, guys, that you should take your television and throw it out the frickin' window. Goes without saying. Just about it goes without saying, every single thing that you see on the television at this point in time is a lie. That you might be presented with some kind of factually, seemingly true thing, but there's always a lie in there somewhere. So take that TV and throw it out the window. It's a tell-lie vision. It lies. Who's the father of lies? That's right, the inventor of communism, none other than the devil himself. The greatest liar ever, the most accomplished liar. Even the highest IQ men on the earth easily fall victim to the lies of the devil, particularly if they're sinful. If they're not, even an ignoramus like me can not be fooled by the lies of the devil. Yeah, guys, part of full spectrum dominance, which is how the devil defeats you by 1,000 paper cuts, is simply just really high level lying, really skillful lying. The devil is what I'm trying to impress upon you is the devil and the devil's systems, the media and stuff, the television. All of that is the most sophisticated liar that you can imagine. Who's the best liar on earth ever? Who's the champion liar? The devil, and all the systems that the devil owns. But let's not get shot down by that yak again. So if you think that you can spot a lie, yeah, maybe you can spot a low-level lie from another human being, but if you're thinking that you can really get by without being tricked by the devil, particularly if you don't have the armor of God, if you're not reading the Bible, trying to keep your levels of sin low as possible, you're going to get tricked real easy. You're going to be a mark for the devil and the devil's systems. The devil and the devil's systems are just so good at lying. They've got lies for dumb people, they've got lies for smart people that are just a little bit more sophisticated, but they still trick you. They trick the dumb and they trick the smart. The only way that you can really be impervious to this, like I said, is what's called the armor of God. And to try your hardest to know what sin is, to know that it exists, and to keep it as low as possible. It's literally harder for you to be tricked if you're keeping your sin low. We're all sinners, but the goal is to keep identify that sin exists, and then to identify sin in your life, and then keep the sin as low as possible. That way you have crystal clear eyes and you can see the lies of the devil and the devil's systems. And as per full spectrum dominance, you are literally surrounded by lies. You're literally surrounded by lies. Every aspect of human culture at this point, particularly in the Western world, has been bathed in lies. If you think there's no lies out there, you're literally bathed in, you're immersed in lies, man. Get real, you're immersed in lies. If lies were liquid, you'd be in an Olympic swimming pool full of lies. You're saturated in an environment of lies. If you can't see that, maybe you've got to do something about the armor of God and identifying sin, acknowledging that it exists, and doing your best work to reduce your sin. Maybe then you'll start to see some of the lies. Right, it seems we're up near the train. I don't want to hit the train though. We got there. It's the HS. I'll go where he goes, I think. I think he's going for the train. What was that I just passed? Is that the train? Or was it a different train, I think? I'm not going to spell it out for you, but just I'll give you a few examples. One aspect of full spectrum dominance, you might have noticed there's a lot of floods and shit like that going on right now. China, Europe, everywhere there's floods. It could be an act of God, it could be something to do with the changeover of the ages from one to another. I think it's probably weather modification. So what would benefit the New World Order by doing weather modification? What's Q bono, who benefits? So just say you get several 100,000 households in Germany to get flooded out, and then you offer them in your authoritative position as the government there, you offer them a big generous money package to help them out on the conditions that they take the jab, and they do all this other bullshit, jump through a lot of hoops that you insist on. So that's a coercive measure. Weather modification, people are desperate, you offer them a solution. It's basically problem reaction solution. It's the Illuminati New World Order way of doing things. Make a problem, people panic, offer them a solution. In this case it's weather modification, it's floods, once in 1,000-year floods. And then you offer them a solution which slowly enslaves them. Shit, it's flak. But the pilot's dead. Can I still fly? Oh shit, I can still fly. Alright. We're in with a remote chance of survival. I doubt it though, there's so much flak everywhere. The pilot's still alive, it's just the gunner that got killed by that flak. Let's dump everything on the train. That's 4 of them. Problem reaction solution, floods in Germany or China or wherever, offer them a solution. The solution has terms and conditions to it, slowly enslaves the people that took the quote unquote help that was offered to them. The solution always has strings attached. The opposite of floods, bushfires right now in America because it's summer. Bushfires in Australia, they're non-stop going on in the television news about bushfires. There's a lot of evidence emerging now that there's some kind of aircraft up in the upper atmosphere, probably high altitude balloons, possibly satellites. I would say high altitude balloons with some kind of directed energy weapon that can start fires wherever they want. And so they say, oh, bushfires, oh, global warming. They've just got a freaking satellite up there with a laser on it, and they just start fires wherever they want. That's the problem. The people panic, a solution is offered. Just move to the city, just abandon the countryside and move to the city and you'll be nice and safe. So that's problem, reaction, solution. That's a small component of full spectrum dominance that you guys are subjected to right now. Don't fall for it. It's all lies. Don't fall for it. How do you prevent falling for it? The armour of God. Reduce your sin. You'll have clear eyes. You'll be more likely to spot the lie. Don't fall for it. So how are we looking? I think we're probably on the verge of losing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. Holy moly. Well, what to do? What to do? I really got to... So the flak there was not even destroyed. I did destroy a lot of the train, I guess. What was the result? 4 railroad. It's not that good at all. I want to take the Ju-88, but the results have been so terrible. What about an E? It's probably a good compromise between the Ju-88 and an F2. I think I've got everything I need here. Got the snow skin, yep. 2 500s plus 450s, plus the 2 cannons there with 360 rounds and the 4000 MG17. Let's go. I reckon the 110 is an underrated plane in history. Like, in the game it's obviously really good, and the game conforms to, like, the physics, you know, in history, like the history of the Battle of Britain and that. People are like, oh, the 110 was crap. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. It's a very versatile aircraft. It's fast. It's extremely fast. It's got long range. It's got heavy firepower. So enemies have arrived. Seriously, guys, if you're one of those people that still believes anything that the television tells you at this point in history, I don't know what to do for you, you know. I really don't know what to do for you. You've got so many 110s over there. The attacker is probably going to be toast. Let me just help out anyway, just in case. Remember, I'm carrying a full load here. 110s could be savage. They've got him. So yeah. There's a school of thought which says something like, don't scare people. Indeed, fear is a thing that the Bible is against. The Bible's against being in fear. That's true. But there's this kind of school of thought that you shouldn't scare people if you're trying to motivate them to save themselves. Yeah, maybe not, I don't know. Certainly you got to offer them a solution, a way out. Don't just scare them but not offer them a solution. I find myself that I'm the most motivated when I'm fully aware of the extent of some danger. Unfortunately or not, whatever it is, what it is, it's going to involve some fear. So if you're scared, good. It means that you're human. Remember though, I've outlined solutions. Yeah, I don't want to paralyze you with fear, but at the same time, if you're sitting on the couch munching down on Doritos Cool Ranch and swigging back a freaking aspartame containing Diet Pepsi or some shit, and you're just totally chill and you're not worried about anything, if that's you, then you need some fear, because you're not going to survive without it. You know what I mean? You don't want to be totally anesthetized to the challenges that face you. By the way, I'm not preaching to you guys as someone who's totally got it together. It was my goal, my New Year's resolution at the end of 2020, start of this year. It was my goal to become anti-fragile. Have I achieved that goal? Nope. I'm nowhere near achieving that goal. So I'm not Mr. Perfect over here. But, best thing I can do for you is I can outline to you the way you should go. Gunner, fire at long range. There is a plane up there. Is it an enemy? Looks like an enemy. At this point in time, guys, you should be taking steps. Even if you've never taken a step before, if you take one step, at least that's something. I've taken hundreds of steps. I'm still not there. Everyone's circumstance is different though. Listen guys, if you're not willing to comply with the beast system, you're probably about 3 months away from losing access to your bank account. Do you understand that? So start taking steps to prepare. Show us the way, Froggy. Damn straight, man. I will. Right, here we are. Where's those bunkers that I was after? Remember, there's a ton of them. If you've got 100 grand in the bank account, or if you've got $1 in the bank account, and if you're not willing to take the mark of the beast and forfeit your soul to the devil for eternity, you'd better come up with some kind of a plan to convert your dollars or your currency into tangible material wealth that can help you in the next chapter of your life such as a solar system, solar panels, inverter, batteries, solar-powered bicycle. Kind of land out in the middle of nowhere. The know-how to grow potatoes, raise chickens. That would be a lot more better use of your money in your bank account than just having it forfeited in 2 or 3 months' time because you didn't act quick enough. You're literally in a trap right now. It's your job to get out of the trap. You feel that you're in a trap? Because I assure you, you are. Do you feel like you're an animal that's in a trap and the trap door is about to swing shut? Do you feel like that? Because I assure you, that's the situation for you. You don't have to stay in the trap, you can leave. And many of you would have, look, the biggest demographic of my audience is boomers. And frankly, boomers are probably the most sinful generation in the history of the earth. You guys have literally handed the human race a genocidal death blow by your inaction and your sinfulness. But people of my generation, I personally know people who their parents have $1 million and they don't have any food in the fridge. So I know people that their boomer parents are uber rich, super rich. I mean, $1 million is not super rich, but you get what I'm saying. The contrast between someone having $1 million and kind of like refusing to help their kid, and their kid doesn't have any food in the fridge. Deserving or not, that's a pretty fucked up disparity. So if you're a boomer, consider helping your kids at this late stage in things in a holistic way. Money, advice, everything. Help them. You've only got a few weeks left. Do something. Do it now. I'm telling you. A dickhead. Boomers are the most sinful generation in history. They've literally signed, what would you call it? I don't mean to have an I told you so moment, but you watch, my friend. In the weeks and months to come, you watch how much the boomers have helped everybody. They've helped everybody into one place only, my friend, into the grave. That's how helpful they are. I don't mean to have a I told you so moment, but mark my words, in the coming weeks you'll see. You dickhead. No offense, but you're a dickhead. You've got inverted thinking. Your thinking is upside down. They haven't helped anybody. They're the ones leading the charge over the precipice from which there's no return. I'm not overly having a go at boomers. I'm just telling you what the situation is. Credit where credit's due. Captain Nutsack, yeah mate, when the New World Order plugs you into the hive mind and you realise your soul has been severed from your body, mark my words, remember what I said to you today. Remember how much the boomers helped everybody at that point. Satan will be laughing at you then. I got to reiterate to you guys, I'm not trying to prove a whole bunch of stuff to you. I'm just telling you what reality is. At least someone's told you the truth. At least you've had the opportunity to know. My job to hold your hand. It's actually your job to take responsibility for yourself. Must have triggered someone there, I think, with the boomer commentary. If you're a legit based boomer and you can handle my critique, then you pass the test. If that triggers you, what can I say? Like I was saying, guys, before I got interrupted, if you're a boomer, make sure your kids are helped out by you as much as possible. It's a good idea to convert material wealth from cash. So if you've got 100 grand cash in the bank, at least make sure your daughter and your son each have 4 years worth of stored food. At least make sure of that. And to hell with the cash. Do you know what I'm saying? Do something right for once. So the train has been destroyed. The alternative is you can watch your kids get ensnared in the beast system and lose their souls, or if they get ensnared in the beast system and they refuse to take the mark, they'll have their heads chopped off by a Chanel guillotine. Or if they manage to escape but they don't have any food, they will starve to death. You don't want that on your conscience, so help them out. And as far as young people go, or anyone for that matter, because this afflicts everybody, one of the quickest wins that you can have with defeating sin is to turn off internet pornography. If you keep on consuming pornography, it's definitely going to cloud your mind and make it harder for you to think. It'll also make you more accepting of other people's sin around you. It'll be harder for you to spot the lies. Don't watch porn. That's not the only sin, by the way. There's a myriad of sins. There's so many sins out there, I don't even know them all. It's got to be one of the most prominent ones. That's a quick win. If you can defeat that, that is a quick win as far as sin goes. So, you guys might not believe that the devil exists. What about evil? The concept of evil is inextricably linked with the devil. I was alluding to this earlier. You might have heard the secular term for someone that's demonically infested, which is narcissist. You might have heard of narcissism. If you haven't experienced it firsthand, you might think it's bullshit. Certainly a lot of women will throw around the word narcissism. Oh, he's a narcissist. I see the narcissist. I'm not talking about that kind of highfalutin crap. I'm talking about real narcissism. It's people with a demon in their heart. It's people that are infected with evil. This might relate to you. If you've experienced it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've been a principal target of a narcissist, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a first-hand account that you would have had with evil. Narcissism, is the truth drop, is demonic infestation. It's one and the same thing. It's just a secular terminology for something that is otherwise spiritually known as demonic infestation or demonic possession. And if you've ever experienced it, you know it. So then extrapolate that out a bit further, assuming you know what, if you've experienced narcissism firsthand. That is more or less the part and parcel, the characteristics of the devil. It's much the same thing. Evil is a constant. It has rather a stultified personality. It really doesn't change no matter who it infects. My goodness, so many bunkers down there, but it's hard to tell which ones are done and which ones are still going. One more there. That was a hit. Lucky I dropped 2. There's something there. It's not a bunker. Let's try and get it. I'll finish in 10. Ammo. Miss. Ones are really hard to destroy. Enemy engaging, unfortunately. One is done. Where's this enemy then? There. Let's go. Go, let's go. It's a Stuka being attacked by a MiG-3. I'll keep my engine as it is. Got him. Crap, there's one on my tail. Oh boy, there's a bunch of them there. Where's this MiG's not getting any closer, is it? He's looking fairly bad shape. Why should I chase this MiG? I may as well turn around. Got his lights on. Finishes in what, 10 minutes, wasn't it? Target's still not defeated. Yeah, he's dragging it. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't fall for it that time, luckily. I'm going to go back. I should engage in the dogfight, clear them off, and then start destroying ground targets. All I can see is 110s. No, there's a fighter there. There's an IL-2 there, I think. What is that plane there? Is that a Mackie? Is that a IL-2? Is that a Hurricane? He's getting shot at by a 110. I think he's toast. Watch out for his cannons though. There's a hit. Ready, ready, ready. Without the laden with bombs, the 110's pretty damn manoeuvrable. wait for those cannons to reload. Damn, he got some hits. That's really bad. 5 minutes to go. Alright, that got him. Where is he? Finally. Again, guys, like to reiterate, I'm not talking to the people that don't get it. I'm talking to the people that have some idea that there's a problem. Strange as it may seem, some people don't actually know that there's a problem. They can't see it. It's okay, but it's not going to end well for them. Whatever it is, something's blocking them from seeing. Here's some more cannons. Get him, get him, get him. That's one, and then there's that, and then there's that. Man, where did they come from? Quick, turn, get him. Got to turn on a dime. This is really risky, but I've got to get him. There's 3 minutes left. Go, go, go. Try which way, decide which way to turn. Most all of the bunkers are done. It's just a few more cannons here like this one. Go, 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 go. Yes, come on. Surely that's destroyed this position. Putting down a bit of flak like this helps with the manoeuvring. You already have the leading edge slats, so that's a pretty good help. Is that a cannon there? Let it be a cannon. I think it's empty. I think it's empty. Yeah. Yeah. To bloody go for. There, damn it, there's another cannon. There's 2 cannons. Yeah, go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. And there's, oh man. Cop to splash damage. Task completed, yeah! 1-2 versus 1-2. It's a freaking draw. What the hell, man, it's a draw with 3 minutes to go. Someone else running down there. I took some damage destroying that cannon. I think it's a draw. Victory Allied. What? No way. I think maybe they had another position. If I'd scroll down the map a bit or something, I don't know. That's the end of the stream, guys. Absorb what I've said. Go back to the beginning. At about 10 minutes in, I started talking about how you can survive the technotronic communist New World Order that's currently attacking the Western world and the greater world. Have a listen. It might save your life. That's it for now, guys. See you next time.